Well, everyone's very busy meetings. Day late for the holiday. We have one special meeting tonight at the Public Works Committee, and we will start off with that one.
I'd like to open up special Public Works Committee meeting at 6:01 p.m. Three action items are right into it. Authorizing vehicle purchase, Greene County Department of Buildings and Grounds.
Martinez.
Handle.
Martinez Handle. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Federal Transit FTA Formula Grants 24 and 25. Federal Transit FTA Formula Grants of Rural Areas for 2024 and 2025. Section 5311, Operating and Capital Assist for sponsors. Continuing project agreements.
Handle.
No leg. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Authorize agreement with ARC Mid-Hudson, Section 5311, Operating and Capital Assistance for sponsors with continuing agreements and third-party operators.
Martinez.
James, just a quick question for Warren.
Yep.
On this part here, I know we've discussed in years past before we approved those funds to buy new buses for the ARC, that we're just not getting a ridership. Does this lock us in regardless of in a year, if we say, yeah, it's just not paying off?
We have a contract with them, and there is a provision in the contract that if we want to terminate service, modify service, if we don't get the funding from the state necessary for us to operate, we have the ability to cancel that contract.
Okay.
I will point out to you that in the resolution, there are two performance requirements. One is we have to do a full-blown, open, competitive procurement in order to stay in compliance with FDA requirements.
Okay.
So we will be doing that this year. And in essence, putting it back out to bid again for operating. If the ARC is successful in that, in their proposal, they would continue and we would do a longer term contract. So the contract is for 1 year.
Okay.
Until such time as we do that, that procurement.
Okay.
There's also another performance requirement that the ARC's mobility manager has to update the transportation plan. And that transportation plan will address the ridership figures that we talked about as part of that, including the different routes, the route that goes to the college. So they have to do that plan and meet with the Transportation Advisory Board and come back to the board with that plan to address the need of that issue of ridership and whether it meets the needs of the county.
Okay. Thank you, Warren. Thanks, James.
Second on that as well.
Second on that?
I'll second it.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Anything else for Public Works tonight?
Motion to close.
Second.
Close second? Okay. Rules.
The Economic Development and Closing Meeting at 6:05. Four action items for the evening. The first being authorizing agreement between Greene County and the Mountain Top Historical Society.
Lennon.
Handle.
Discussion. All in favor?
Yeah, just, Darrell, on something like this we haven't seen, they've never come before us. I know Create will come before us and stuff, but they're looking to do this thing annually. We should probably have them here to see what they're all about, actually.
That's not a problem. We can get somebody to come down. I've actually sat on the board for the Historical Society for a few years myself.
Yeah.
So this kind of mirrors the Bronick House.
Yeah.
So you have all these people coming up, visiting the falls and the area where The Mountaintop Historical Society has its campus right at the top of the mountain. And the DEC helped with the rail trail that connects from the campus to the falls, which also goes to North-South Lake. The amount of visitors that come there every weekend is phenomenal, even during the week. It's gone from being used basically from Memorial Day to Labor Day. It goes down from April, Columbus Day, and even later. There's always people there. They come from all over the world. The campus itself is 11 acres. There's a barn in the back that has been retrofitted and upgraded to a beautiful area that you can use they use them for weddings or fundraisers. And the original railroad depot is there. It's been restored to original specs. It was built in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And then they have the main building, which they moved from the back of the campus right onto the 23A part. And they remodeled that all inside in there. So they do interact with the public and tourism quite a bit. And one of the things that they want to do is have the kiosk set up there for economic development to hand out the brochures and stuff, much like you would have down here in our new building coming up. Like I say, the amount of flow in there is unbelievable, but I can arrange somebody to come down for a meeting to give you a whole blowout. And one of the things that they're doing for the next item that's gonna come up too is for the parking. So they easily park 100 cars, and where they park them now is an old basketball court and a tennis court, and then the rest is all on the grass that they have there. So they're looking to hire an engineering firm with the county to come in and redo the parking, your ingress and egress to the campus to better facilitate the amount of cars that come in, and they can upgrade how many come in. And with that, that's the first step, that they have a meeting tomorrow night where they are going to hire a local engineering firm to redesign the whole campus itself, because they want to upgrade and be able to facilitate all the people that come there. So this is actually a multi-step progress that they are putting a lot of money and time and effort into, and we're just looking a little help from the county.
So they're asking for 15,000 for this first one.
No, yearly, that'll be.
Right, and then they're also asking for us to do their parking lot.
No, not for the engineering of the parking lot.
And then are they gonna ask us to do the parking lot? Is this like a five-step thing?
Well, if they were smart, they would, because we helped many of the communities in our county to develop the properties that promote tourism and economic development, which this is like I said, going back 4 years ago, when they had the sign in down on the Horseshoe Bend, that was only between Memorial Day and Labor Day. 30,000 people stopped and signed that book. How many people you think didn't stop and sign it?
Well, Daryl, will this include, I know I asked about this when we were building the tourism building. Will this include an electronic kiosk? Or Warren, maybe this is a question for you.
It can certainly include electronic kiosks, and I remember when the Rock Museum was here, they're going through their master plan, they're in phases, they asked for support, an annual contribution, as well as funds to help them with their master plan. In this case, the Mountaintop Historical Society's immediate need is to address their parking issue. And because of the volume of tourists that they serve there, they've also expressed that, you know, they're looking at these funds to help the county better, you know, serve tourists and get economic impact. The way to do that is through signage, kiosks, material. And the Bronx Museum actually brought that up as part of their presentation as well, where I think they called themselves kind of more like the northern gateway for the north, when tourists come down 9W, that they see a lot of tourists and they want more ability to help assist those tourists and partner with the county tourism office as well. So there's an opportunity for the county kind of like on a hub and spoke, perspective to go where the tourists are to make sure that we're capturing as much revenue, if you will.
Yeah.
Be that direct.
Well, I remember we received a letter from them in October, you know, and they were asking for 25,000 for, in the budget. Now they're at 15,000. I'm just curious why they asked for 25, but we're giving them 15.
I know Sean set up the budget number. I don't have an answer for you on that.
They asked for 25, and what was offered was 15.
But what I'm saying is, to Patty's point, you know, are they gonna be coming to us later on and saying, oh, I need more now?
Uh-huh.
Well, I think it will, and I had discussions with them also on another project up there, parking related. The parking lot is closed off now, that you can't get into, and we're getting that opened back up. There was some plantings, the Molly Smith lot, getting some plantings up there, putting an island in so you can't park in front of somebody else, but the shuttle will be able to get up there and turn around and come back down. But those are some other discussions, so, you know, I certainly wouldn't say no, they're not coming for more. There's actually some other discussions going on, that they're just not ready to move on yet, but yeah, I think there's gonna be some.
It's multi-faceted.
Is there anything in our tourism budget now that helps them or no?
Yes, but not a direct financial contribution where they're passing out literature and stuff. We distribute literature all over the county. And there's kiosks for literature on the mountaintop, not digital. There isn't an opportunity because with the tourism center, we've been looking at our own needs and enhancement for digital advertising and kiosks and so forth.
Darrell, do you know what this would be used for, the 15,000? What's it budgeted for the?
It's to promote tourism on the mountaintop through the Mountaintop Historical Society. You gotta understand, they're a volunteer organization. So everybody that works there on the weekends that has this facility open doesn't get paid. So they do have a manager and a bookkeeper that they have to pay out of their own fundraising. And then they'll go towards that, and keeping the place afloat and going. I mean, they run on donations.
Or was this also running for the restrooms? We already had.
They do have a need for restrooms. The crush of people in the parking really needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was part of the first.
I know there's a conversation going on with that. I don't know whether they're gonna include it or not. Or, look, the resolution speaks to the pre-design phase, including the building and their user requirements, space programming, conceptual design, resulting in information leading to parking lot expansion and opinion of probable cost. So we can't get to what the solution is and what the cost will be until the pre-design work is done. Darrell said there's a lot of tourists that go there for those multi-use facilities because there's a lot of buildings there. I will also add that the state of New York, the DEC, has been going through a very lengthy visitor use management plan. They're intensely looking at the flow, and there will be changes that come out as a recommendation of that plan. And we want to make sure that the opportunities that we have and that the Historical Society has control and access to, continues to put us in the best possible position to capture those tourists. Because there is very limited parking there and access to the flow. That's why we see such a crush of parking at the Historical Society. Because everything else is closed off or squeezed out, or not enough parking. The demand is greater than what the state can currently provide for access into the club.
The overflow comes down to the Pelham to that shuttle.
Where do they park in Palinville?
It's limited. Well, that's why a couple people make $2, but they leave that place on the mountaintop and come down. Oh, they stop in Pelham.
Bar staff, preserve access.
I mean, there is parking, they do have parking on top of the falls, but it's maxed out in the size that the state is willing to provide, so they're not gonna get any bigger. So there's really nowhere for these people to go unless we provide it at the Historical Society, which would be a big help as far as parking on the sides of the roads. I mean, on a nice summer day, if you're looking for something to do, take a ride up there and go by it. You'll see how many people are there. I mean, they get so full that they gotta turn away.
I mean, what about the fall? I mean, the fall is unreal.
Yeah.
The amount of revenue,
They're on schedule, because
Yeah.
they're gonna be a while.
the fall is unreal. I mean, the amount of revenue that the mountaintops bringing into Greene County is phenomenal. I think this is a small investment for the amount of money that they bring in to our county. And just this week alone, it's a vacation week. My understanding is that, Wyndham is packed all week in Hunter too, all week long. In the middle of the week, in the middle of winter, right? So the revenue coming out of there is phenomenal. This is a small investment for what they bring in Greene County.
Like the Bronx Museum, the work they're doing is intended to quantify their needs and address what they would like to do. But then go after state funding and grants and other resources. The same thing here with the DEC. The Historical Society of California have a relationship with the DEC for access into the globe. You can't ask for money and go after grant dollars until you know what you want to build, what it's going to cost, and what the pre-design is.
And right now, the DEC recognizes the usefulness of this campus because they provide the outhouse facilities that are being used there now, so the bathrooms that they have in existence don't get overused. So they are partnering with them as well.
Yeah, I would like to see it and, work with our tourism office and have a partnership. But bring them in. I'd like to hear more about what they're doing as well.
Yeah.
Especially they're kind of partnering with the Greene County Historical Society. They're kind of on the mountain and the other ones are in the valley, so.
Bring them in when the pre-design is done and they know what they want to do and what the ask might be, or at a different scale.
Fine, I would say so. Oh, that's fine. That would be good. Thanks, Daryl.
You're welcome. Do we have a first and a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Be there none, so carried. Authorizing Greene County Economic Development, Tourism and Planning Department to prepare and solicit proposals for an evaluation for the expansion of the Mountaintop Historical Society's parking facilities. True. Second,
Olivera?
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Be there none, so carried.
Bless you.
Flashlight. Setting a public hearing for community development block grants.
Handle.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Be there none. Setting a public hearing for CDBG application, Micro Enterprise Assistance Program. True.
Handle.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Be there none? So carried. If there's nothing else to be brought before the economic development.
We'll let James off that easy.
I, make a motion to close.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We are closed.
Woke up. You didn't lose control. No.
That's right, girl.
You want to? Okay. Good evening. I would like to open government operations at 6:20 tonight. We have County Clerk Marilyn Farrell here, and she would like to speak to us.
So there is resolution for the money that I get to transfer it into my budgetary items. So what happened with that was when COVID hit, we went with everything online. And at that point in time, I had $10,000 in my records for budgeting. So IQS prints the documents when people go online. And of course, they get percentage and we get a percentage. So our percentage, I've been asking to have it transferred back into my budgetary so I can do that scan. So the amount of money in the resolution is for the last quarter of 2024. And I will add that to my 10,000 that's in the budget and go on the project. But so right now, currently, we have grantor indices back to 1,800 on the computer. If you went online, you could see it. We have corporate grantor and grantees from 1890 to 1990. We have Liz pendants and indices to 1924 to 2004. We have deed books A through 756. And currently we have a project going for the first 3 quarters of 2024 that will bring the grantor to, will complete that grantors back to the 1800s and the mortgagers. So we're going to continue going backwards so that we can get everything online so that when people want and search, they can search in the home and do it at their leisure. So this money has helped increase the amount that I've been able to do. I do have some other factors in motor vehicle that I could give you. As you know, we picked up in COVID, we picked up a lot of state work because they're not working yet. And so those dealers are sending it directly to us. And we have a New Jersey Public Service Bureau that sends their work to us. And we have a service bureau out in New York City that we've been working with, and Marianne Portage, that we do work for. So out of those 4 things for 2024 has brought in $646,025. That's not including what we did with the walk-ins from Greene County. That's just the outside agencies that are bringing it to us. With what we've done in the office is $893,320, which was all the transactions was 80,940 transactions that my staff had to process at motor vehicle. The state decreased our retention from 12.75 per transaction to 10.75. But there's a good side, there's a bright side. They are giving us that 10.75 percentage on internet, where previous years we had to meet $500,000 before they give us 3%.
Okay.
So on our case, the state is figuring we're gonna make maybe 5% more because we advertised to have people come into the office to do their transactions, so the 12.7 stayed there. So as of 24, we held our own even with the decrease in retention. So we're okay. So we're compared to last year, we are up $100,000 for motor vehicle. I do have mortgage tax figures. Mortgage tax for 24 is $1,471,567. Amy doesn't have all her figures on the third side, so.
Marilyn, do you know, is that up or down from the previous year?
Mortgage?
Mortgage,
It's down.
it's down.
It's
Okay.
down. It was 1,600,000. It's down 200. But, the rest of the figures for, the clerk side, Amy's working on that, so.
That was my other question, was how was it working out with the law change on the retaining, fees?
A lot of the other counties are making out a lot better because they're bigger counties and they have more internet access and people are doing internet, some of the counties are increasing 10%.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Okay, I will go right into the proposed action items. Number one, budget amendment, Greene County Clerk, digitization of records.
Rivera.
Martinez, Rivera, and Lucas. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Number two, correcting assessment roll, Town of Catskill. Wheat, Brent, D, tax map ID number 155.08-3-7. Lemon, I'll second. Somebody else? I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Number three, correcting assessment roll, Town of Greenville. Town of Greenville, tax map ID 12.04-1-31, and I'll make that resolution.
I'll second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Does anyone have anything else to come before government operations tonight?
Motion to adjourn.
Need a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Full Finance Committee order, several agenda items. And if you'll keep still, maybe we'll get through these pretty quick and I won't lose my way here. I'll try not to get in your way. First one's authorizing the Greene County Mountaintop Historical Society. Oh, Leg and true. Okay. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. Number two is amending resolution number 452-24, awarding bids cleaning services for various county buildings. I'll make that.
I'll second that.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. Three, authorizing vehicle purchase, Greene County Department of Buildings and Grounds.
Davis.
Davis?
True.
Drew seconds it. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed, that's also carried. Number four, Federal Transit FTA Formula Grants, 24-25 Federal Transit FTA Formula Grants for Rural Areas, 24-25 Section 5311, Operating and Capital Assistance for sponsored with continuing project agreements.
Davis.
Davis. Chairman? Seconds it. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. Number five, authorize agreement with ARC Bid Hudson Section 5311, Operating and Capital Assistance for sponsors with continuing agreements and third-party operators.
Davis.
Davis.
True.
Drew seconded, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed, that's also carried. Number 6, increasing fees, Greene County Board of Elections.
Village.
Buelich, and who second?
Lennon.
Leonard second. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed, that's also carried. 7, accepting formal proposal for replacement of the County Route 23C culvert over tributary to the East Kill Town of Jewett. C-123C-13-439-JEW. Mr. Lake.
Village.
You would second, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Oh, that's also carried. Number 8, accepting formal proposal for flag Gower repair of faulty road bridge over Little West Kill, Town of Lexington, bin number 3-20120-0. Mr. Lake.
Linger?
Linger second, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Oh, that's carried. Doing a lot of work up the mountain. Number 9, pending resolution number 469-24, authorizing the highway department to enter an agreement with C.D. Smith Engineering Service necessary for the investigation and repair of 2 slope failures along County Route 61 River Road in the town of New Baltimore.
Linger?
Mr. Linger. I'll second it, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Oh, that's also carried. Number 10, authorizing purchase of 1 new 25 excavator for the highway department.
Village.
Mr. Buick, Mr. Drew, seconded, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Oh, that's carried. Number 11, authorizing purchase of 2 new 2025 wheel loaders for the highway department.
Lennon?
Mr. Leonard,
Village.
Buick, seconded, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Oh, that's also carried. Number 12, authorizing purchase of 1 new 25 excavator for the solid waste department.
True.
Mr. Drew?
Village.
Mr. Coolidge? All in favor of that?
Aye.
Oh, that's carried. 13, authorized purchase of 1 new 25 wheel loader for solid waste department.
Linger?
Village.
Linger, Buick seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, that's carried. On equipment. Number 14, authorized agreement, Greene County Department of Human Services, Aging, and Columbia County Community Health Care Consortium, Inc.
True.
True.
Davis.
Davis seconded, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Oh, that's carried. 15 is authorized agreement between Greene County Department of Human Services, Aging, and Coordinated Care Services, Inc.
Davis.
Mr. Davis. Seconded, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Oh, that's also carried. Number 16, agreement, authorizing agreement, Greene County Department of Human Services, Aging, and the Corporation for National and Community Service for Federal Assistance Grant Funding.
Right?
Like,
True.
True seconded, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Oh, that's also carried. 17, authorized agreement between Greene County Department of Human Services, Aging, Nicole Gertman, MSRD, CDN.
Davis.
Mr. Tatum.
Linger?
Mr. Linger, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 18, authorized agreement, Greene County Department of Human Services, Aging, and Retired Senior Volunteer Program Funding and Administered by NYSOFA Grant Funding.
True.
True. True. Blake seconds it, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 19, authorizing out-of-state travel. Ward and Seaberg. That's unfair.
Village.
Mr. Blake. Who seconded? Buick. Mr. Buick. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 20, reappointing member Board of Electrical Examiners.
Village.
Mr. Buick.
True.
Lennon.
Well, Linger's.
Blake also. Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Am I losing that?
No, you're good.
You're losing.
Number 21, budget amendment, Greene County Clerk, digitation of records.
Lennon?
Lennon, Drew seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. 22, budget amendment, Greene County Board of Elections, state fiscal year 24-25 grants. Rivera,
Village.
Rivera, and Mr. Buick seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, that's carried. 23 is budget amendment, Greene County Board of Elections, cybersecurity, remediation grant. Rivera, Mr. Rivera.
Davis.
Davis, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Number 24, budget amendment, Greene County Board of Elections, technology innovation and election resource grant program.
Bueller.
Mr. Bueller.
Davis.
Davis, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. 25, budget amendment, awarding bid for a high-pressure air compressor system emergency service. Martinez, Legg and Leonard, okay. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. 26, correct assessment road, town of Catskill, Wheat, Brent D, tax map number ID 155.08-3-7. Rivera. Mr. Rivera.
Leonard.
Mr. Leonard, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. 27, correct assessment road, town of Greenville, tax map ID 12.04-1-31.
Davis. Bueller.
Davis. Village and True. Village and True. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. That's carried. 28, authorization to pay claims highway.
Bueller.
Mr. Bueller, I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. 29, authorization to pay claims.
Davis.
Davis, I'll second it. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed? That's also carried. That's the end of it. Treasurer's report, that was William tonight. Kate? Where'd you go?
On my way. Good evening, everybody.
Been a busy month at the treasurer's office. We'll start out with delinquent taxes. Collection of delinquent taxes, January of 25 totaled $436,265.52, compared to $309,902.22 in 24, or an increase of $126,363.30. Year-to-date payments for 2025 collections are $586,246.73 compared to $373,061.74 in 24, an increase of $213,184. This is includes the penalties, interest, and fees we collected on those delinquent taxes. Greene County delinquent taxes total. In summary, the amount due to the county for delinquent taxes in January 25 totaled $7,826,649.30 compared to $6,937,343.88 in January of 24, or an increase of $889,305.42. Sales tax, we've started out strong in 25. Our collection sales tax received to date, $4,216,024.97 compared to $3,755,621.44, or an increase of $460,403.53 on our first two payments, or 12.26%. So we're starting out strong. I have a couple other tidbits for you. We're with the director of taxes, county attorney, etc. We're beginning the process on the in rem foreclosures, and we've set the last date to collect to pay your taxes that are in arrears of August 27th, 2025. Which is setting us up for probably a September foreclosure sale. We've also received our first adult use cannabis revenue from the state. That revenue will be coming in January, April, July, and October on a quarterly basis. Our first payment was $19,692.84. Kevin and the administration staff has been working along with Jeff to get the Office of Cannabis Management to actually tell us what was sold in Coxsackie and Catskill. It's hard to believe we are the first county to receive any money, but yet they still have not let us know that. And we have been looking for that information since the 27th of January. So hopefully we'll have that for you, and we'll, I've communicated to the supervisors of Catskill, the village president, as well as the Coxsackie supervisor, to let them know we do have money for them. They get 75% of this money. But I have told them that until the Office of Cannabis Management gives us the specifics on what they've sold individually, we can't distribute it.
So they get 75% of these sales.
They get 75%, the county retains 25% of the sales tax.
And then so this money with us goes into a special line account in our budget?
On cannabis revenue right now, and then it's not earmarked anywhere on the expense side as of yet.
Is that because it's still not legal federally?
On the expense side?
We just weren't sure.
I mean,
what the
we're
revenue
collecting
was gonna
taxes
be.
on, don't understand, it's still illegal federally. How are we?
This is sales tax though. We're not getting revenue directly from cannabis. We're getting sales tax revenue. So the state is distributing it to us. They have given us, if I recall, Kevin, they've given us a line item where it's being paid out of or paid through.
Paid to, yeah.
Paid to. As soon as we know the more details, we'll let you know. But right now, there is no written agreement between the village and town of Catskill. So they'll share in their percentage until they decide otherwise and notify us, where Coxsackie will get their whole portion, if that is in the town of Coxsackie. Last thing I have for you is that I identified that many of our audits are done involving the state. But one of the ones that is in-house is petty cash. So we identified that petty cash had not been done in another year, so I initiated that earlier or late last month, early this month, and we have completed all the departments in this building except for two. We've not gone to the outside departments yet, but this is not a gotcha. We're not looking for gotcha, but we are looking to reestablish our baseline. Our responsibility is to keep track of money. This hadn't been done in some years. So we're doing pretty simple. It's probably the smallest numbers we'll ever see in the treasurer's office. The total amount of petty cash is about 18,000 countywide. But we're doing it just to make sure it's we establish a baseline, and there'll be one and one going forward. Anybody have any questions?
What about your STRs and that whole tax that'll be coming out on that? Who has to keep track of all that?
In short, the county does. There's a waiver, but the administrator's office, the treasurer's office, we're working on the STRs. We're interviewing companies that do essentially the data mining of all the information that we're going to need. At this point, we're thinking it's probably going to be easier to hire somebody to do that work for us, since they already exist, rather than trying to recreate the wheel and contractor, I should say, recreate the wheel inside my office and 1, 2, or more people that may be needed to do so. But we're working on that. Kevin, myself, Sean, and Warren had a meeting with one vendor. I was unavailable for the second meeting, so Kevin took that meeting and has put together a summary for that. We're going to continue to meet with those folks. We have not been at any definition of cost yet. Should it be outrageous, then we'll reconsider maybe bringing it in-house, but.
These contractors then, Keith, would they be outside of New York State?
Some of them operate nationally, yes.
Yeah, I didn't know would this be in a New York State?
Well, it's, think about it from a hot tax, a hospitality, occupancy tax. That's not unique to New York State or other counties. So we're one of 4 counties that does not have a hot tax. So the mechanisms are being used in other parts of the state and certainly other parts of the country. We're just basically our STRs, our first venture into a hot tax that's limited essentially to short-term rentals without getting into traditional hospitality. So the short answer is we're looking at it. We're going to try to figure out what's our best way to look at it and get the most bang for our dollar. The information is extensive that the state wants us to, the data to collect. And then we have to talk further about who's responsible for enforcement. Because with this law comes also enforcement on the code enforcers, village, towns. They're gonna have expenses related to the enforcement of the STRs. And we're looking at initially, we think that the STR numbers could be if we're at a 20%, excuse me, a 30% occupancy, if I'm remembering correctly, that could bring us somewhere around 600,000 to 700,000 a year. And if we get up into the 60% neighborhood of occupancy, we're looking at 2.8. So we're going to look at this and at the expense side as well as the revenue side and find out how best to do it. But we're in that process. We'll probably have more information for you next month.
Okay. And if I remember correctly, when that legislation was approved by the state did not require a registration list, but they left it up to the counties to decide if they wanted to do them or not.
Well, and you could opt out, but as the few of us that met have discussed, there's really not a solid opt-out. You still have to have the data, right? So they're basically saying you don't need to do it, but you got to have the data. So what's the answer you're left with? You have to do it.
Well, many of the towns, I know even on the mountaintop, they now require that you have a permit for your occupancy. And part of that is your house is inspected to make sure you don't have like
that's correct.
Bedroom with no egress or egress for emergency. So really the data, they're gonna be collecting all the data for you anyway.
Not to the extent that the state's looking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's onerous. There's a lot.
Of course.
You've used the term data mining. These companies have access to proprietary databases, probably a dozen or more, that they look at as part of that reporting. And it really helps forecasting what the revenue would be, based on what the occupancy rate of the SDRs are.
And it also look into, are we being underreported based on the data? Which I think the one example we looked at, all lines were being underreported. So we can assume that that's still, going to be the case. There's as you know, there's cash in certain businesses and that sort of thing. And the reporting on this is going to be probably no different. We're probably going to be short in some cases. We're going to, try to do our best to not be the heavy hand, but at the same time, see that we're getting what we should. One of the things Warren mentioned is the Airbnb platform has an abundance of data that can be obtained.
Just a couple other quick comments. One of the companies we interviewed specifically noted, because she ran the numbers, Greene County has a very high number of short-term rentals in comparison to other counties. It's much higher than a lot of other counties.
I think the number was in the neighborhood of 3,000.
And we know that annually, I Love New York Tourism does their annual economic impact analysis around the state, and they focus on regions. We're in the Catskill region, and they several years ago started to break out the economic impact from second homes as well. We have a lot of second homes that generate revenue for the county and a lot of SDRs, but we haven't been able to collect sales tax.
Right. Kevin, do you have anything you'd like to add from the most recent meeting this past week?
Just really with the vendors that we looked at, they have technology that we cannot process and cross-reference it against various platforms, because obviously some are posted on Airbnb, VRBO, and then a bunch of other sites that some of us haven't even heard of. and then they'll cross-reference it on the web pages to make sure nothing's being evaded or hidden, but the technology. Word recognition to image recognition, cross-reference that over.
To Darrell's point though, we've done in cooperation and partnership with the municipalities to regulate it from a land use code and safety perspective at the local level and permit it. So the two are really linked.
And I almost forgot, I have another piece of good information for you. Styles all around. As you know, we've been starting to keep track of the highest delinquent numbers, you know, the top 25, if you will. On January 6th, number 3 paid. So we collected $203,180.03.
That's amazing.
So number 3 is off, and you got a new number 25. Somebody always steps up. I don't have the name in front of me. I have an address, but if anyone would like to know specifics on it, just let me know. We'll talk about that later. Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you, Keith.
All right. Have a great night.
Thank you. Anything else come before finance?
Motion to close.
That's for close. Thank you.
No, you didn't.
Then we have a quick